Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley. I'm Catherine Snyder, and welcome to our Sunday morning coffee and conversation. I said we're the Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley, Lafayette, Colorado. Centers for Spiritual Living is an organization that teaches that each one of us is a divine being, that we are God expressing and learning how to be that super individual living in the world. We believe that what we think and say matters, what goes on in our heads matters, and we teach ways to make that more healthy, right? Our vision and our passion is inspiring and uplifting every one of us to transform ourselves and transform the world. And we begin each one of these talks with the type of prayer that we call affirmative prayer. And this type of prayer is not about beseeching to an outside God, but rather aligning our consciousness with the truth of what is, with the love that what is. And this prayer is about inviting that divine being to come forth, right, and be great in the world. Today, our opening prayer will be led by Jim Shink. So, Jim?
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. Okay, as we start this meeting, this service, let's come together in a positive, informative, productive service that we all can lift our spirits, lift our attitudes, adjust them so that we can look forward to a beautiful day, a beautiful service, a beautiful life. Let us open our minds and our hearts to accept the message today from our very loved practitioner, Lori. Thank you. I want to also know that we are very grateful for this community, this joining of our spirits to adjust our attitudes to a healthy, productive, joyful experience. We all are joined in the spirit. So this is where we feel the joining, feel the spirit circling through us, each of us at once, and that we will let things happen, let them go, let all the strifes, all the fears, all the regrets, let them go, cut them loose. They are baggage that just holds us back. And we know without all this weight, we will be lighter and brighter and happier. So let's join in saying, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you.
And so it is.
All right, now our speaker today is Lori Carlson. She's a practitioner with the Center for Spiritual Living in Morristown, New Jersey. Started studying this teaching in 2016, became a licensed practitioner 2022, 2 years ago. After many years helping people with their physical bodies as a massage therapist, she now focuses on helping people with their mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. She's a published poet. She uses poetry as part of her ministry, channeling the spirit in a co-creative way. She's very active in her recovery community. And with 10 years in the program, she combines the teaching with the recovery principles to better serve those in need of spiritual guidance and support. So thank you, Lori, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you, guys. It is a pleasure to be with you again. I love speaking with you. And the topic today is one that's very close to my heart because we're going to be talking about the power of word. I'm going to be talking about the power of word and especially the power of the spoken word. And so, as Catherine said, I'm a poet and I'm in recovery. So there's a lot of times that I use the power of the spoken word in my life. And so it is something that is very meaningful to me. And it's something I'm really looking forward to talking to you about today. So I'm going to start with in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? We all know this from John 1. And this just sets the stage for how powerful our word is. Word is God, right? Word is the creative energy. Word is where it all starts. And we know in this teaching that it all starts in consciousness, right? It is all thought. It is all thought expressing. Everything exists as an idea before it comes into form. But word is how we move it from idea into form. Word is the expression of those thoughts. The very word comes from the Greek word logos, which means the expression of a thought. So it is in the power of words that we go from this creative mind and intelligence into demonstration in law. And Ernest Holmes himself says, there must be a recognition that the power of the word, operating as the truth and reality of being, can do all things. Can do all things. The power of the word, right? It's not just the power of the thought, it is that thought as we express it. And this is where the spiritual journey is. This is where we get to choose. We get to use our awareness and our choice for what thoughts we put into word, what expression we give to them, what power we give them by our word, and I'm going to be speaking about the spoken word because I believe that the thought is one power. The word, when you put it in your thoughts into words, it is another power. And when you speak it, you release it into law in a greater way and you give it even more power. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, right? And Don Miguel says, the word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. I just love that. A force. It is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events in your life. You can speak. What other animal on the planet can speak? Well, that's debatable. They all speak in their own languages, I believe. But the word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is the tool of magic. Magic. Like this is where we get to imbue our thoughts with magic, with the power of our word. And when you speak it out loud, you are adding a whole nother level because you are adding the level of vibration. And we know, I assume that we all know that everything is vibration, right? All of life is vibration. Quantum physics has proven that everything is vibrating. All right, the desk, the chair, the table, everything is a vibration. So when you add the power of vibration to the thought and to the concept, the word, like you take the thought into expressing into word, and then you're adding the power of vibration, you are amplifying and really using the power of the creative energy, the creative process. I only treat out loud. Okay. So I have been, like Catherine said, I've been a practitioner for 2 years, but I've been studying since 2016. And let me tell you, the last time that I wrote a treatment, like, pen to paper, was probably in 2017 or maybe 2018, because once I discovered the power of channeling spirit, once I discovered the power of aligning myself with the presence and the power, I have found that when I speak the word, it speaks to me in a different way, right? So I open myself to hear and to I put myself in the place, in the space of prayer, and then I allow it to channel through me. Because in this teaching, we know that when you are treating your own consciousness, right? So it's always about your own consciousness. And how better for my consciousness to hear than to hear it in my own voice. So I am channeling spirit and I am hearing it. When I hear my voice say something, it is imprinting on me in a deeper way. It is making a different impression on me than when I'm just writing it down. So I send to people a lot of treatments. I send them by text, I send them by email, but I always talk them into my phone, and so that I hear them, so that I am channeling them. And I know that this, for me at least, creates a more powerful experience, and that it allows me to really put a different level of faith and a different level of knowing into that prayer, because I am hearing myself say it. I'm hearing the process of it. And we know, I mean, science has taught us, right, that if you want to remember something, if you want to remember somebody's name, you should repeat it when you meet them, right? Repeat it out loud, because when you hear yourself saying something, you remember it more, right? And that's the power of the spoken word. And there are so many ways that we get to use this in our lives and in our society. And one of my favorite examples is cheerleaders, right? We live in a sports world, right? And so what are cheerleaders doing but using the power of their voice to try to create that which they desire? They are unifying the public, the players, and themselves into trying to inspire and demonstrate winning, right? I mean, but that is a great example of the power of the spoken word to unify, to create a vibration of demonstration. I don't know that it always works because both teams are cheering, but it is the intention to create and uplift and use that vibration of the voice to unify and uplift and create a greater demonstration. And so I just love that. And I was a cheerleader for a little bit in high school, but anyway, I love the fact that it's an example of this teaching that nobody even realizes that they're using. So Florence Scovel-Shinn, who actually I discovered thanks to Catherine, um, says, owing to the vibratory power of words, whatever man voices, he begins to attract. So whatever man voices, right? It doesn't say whatever man thinks. I mean, we do know the power of thought and the power of consciousness, but there is a greater power in what you voice. And so this is where we get to choose. This is where we get to decide what words we're putting out there. We know we are all one, right? There is one mind. I like to think of it as the interconnected web of life. So this one consciousness, this one interconnected web of life, how are you vibrating it? Like, what are you putting out? What energy, what word are you putting out that is creating an energy and a vibration that goes forth and affects everyone? Because we know in this teaching, right, that in that one mind, that everything exists in that one mind. And so whatever you are putting into that energetic field is affecting everyone. The ripple effect, it goes out whether you see it or not. And you do see it, especially with the people that are around you, right? The words that you voice affect the people that are around you, and you see that. So you get to choose the words that you use. And are you mindfully and consciously choosing words that create unity, that uplift others, that bring forth beauty, that create like a beautiful tapestry or mosaic of words for people to be inspired by and uplifted by? Or are you just vomiting out the first thing that comes into your mind without thought and creating sort of a miasma of just confusion and chaos in the world? Well, that is our choice. And that is what the spiritual path is all about, right? We get to choose our words, and we get to consciously vibrate that web in a way that's beautiful, that's mindful, that's loving, that's conscious, that creates peace, that all of the things we want, right? We get to cheer for those things that we want to demonstrate. And I'm assuming that since we're all on a spiritual path, those things are all things that are loving and kind and good. So we get to do that today. I'm going to use a lot of quotes because I love quotes. I have been collecting quotes since I was a young person. I have books of quotes, and when I hear somebody else's words saying things that resonate with me, it sort of resonates with me in a different way. And I love to repeat them out loud because, like I was saying, then my consciousness hears them in a different way. So, anyway, this is a quote by Tom Stoppard. Words are sacred. Just love that. If you get the right ones in the right order, you can nudge the world a little. Words are sacred. If you get the right ones in the right order, you can nudge the world a little. Now, I just love that because I love the idea of the sacredness of words. I love the idea of a nudge, like it's just something that is sort of not overpowering, but is, you're directing the flow, right? And I, as a poet, and this just really speaks to me. But this is where we get to choose, like, what direction are you nudging the world in? What direction are your words putting forth that is, are you pushing us towards good and peace and love and kindness or not? And that's the ability to choose, and that's the power. I'm going to use some more quotes. So Joel Osteen, I'm sure most of you are familiar with him. He's a Christian minister. But, the thing about this truth, about the power of word and the power of the spoken word, is that it goes across all, religions, all traditions, because it's truth. And there's one thing, truth is truth is truth, right? Well, no matter what philosophy you're in, there are certain fundamental truths that are always present. And so this comes from Joel Osteen. Our words have creative power. With our words, we can speak blessings over our future, or we can speak negative things over our future. He also said, the power to see change in your life can be found in the words you speak. Once again, the words you speak. You have the power to set the destiny for your life by what comes out of your mouth. So, here it is, like in a whole different tradition, speaking about the power to demonstrate that which you speak. And so I'm going to ask you to consider this. How often do you use your spoken word for creative energy? Use it for good. Like, do you have a practice where you speak treatments out loud? Do you chant? Do you sing loving things? Do you use the power of your voice and the vibration to, in a spiritual practice? Because if you don't, it's a great thing to consider adding a way that you actually use the power of your voice. I know I live alone, and so I talk to myself all the time. I speak out loud. I treat out loud, read poetry out loud. So I don't know if that works for everybody, but it's something about that vibration that brings me into a greater sense of my oneness and into a greater expression of the creative energy that I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of good. I want to be a part of joy. I want to be a part of wisdom. So I get to choose that every day. And so I'm going to share a little story with you about the power of the words that you choose, right? One of the greatest examples of the power of choosing words for me, I learned from my minister, which is that in the original Aramaic of the Bible, everywhere where it said fear, it really translates into awe. And they chose fear on purpose to make us fearful, right? So they chose fear, the translation of fear, to control and manipulate people. But if you really go back to the original concept, it was awe. Now, how much does that change the whole meaning, right? When you think of, fear God or a fearful God, no, be in awe of God, an awful, not awful, but awe-filled God. That changes the whole thing. So it just goes to show you that the words you choose with precision and with meaning and with conscious awareness can change the whole vibration and the whole meaning and how people interpret them. You know, in this teaching, we use the word love all the time, right? Love is all there is, love, love, love. But, you know, to me, there's something kind of, we use it way too superficially and way too often to really inform the meaning of it. There are so many other languages where there are so many words for love, right? I mean, there's 96 words for love in Sanskrit. 96 words. I try very hard to use words that are not the ordinary everyday words because I want to create a different experience for people, and I want to be precise and descriptive and bring forth an idea of curiosity and beauty. You know, when I was in rehab, and I've shared that I'm in recovery, I was in rehab for a long time, and everybody cursed all around me. Like it was, everything was MF and this, and you know, and it sort of leaked into, I mean, you know, you absorb what you're around, and it leaked into my speech. And when I got out and when I got on the spiritual journey, really, and you know, I made a conscious effort to completely delete that from my language. Because for one thing, I think it's lazy. I think it's like, you know, that's kind of like a lazy emotional choice of words. But for another thing, that is not the energy that I want to be putting out there. But it's always a conscious choice, right? It's always comes back to the words that you choose. I I love the idea that a lot of the indigenous, I don't want to say Eskimo because, but a lot of the indigenous cultures have a lot of words for snow because just the beauty and the power of words and our ability to choose them gives us such greater power. And so as a poet, I know this and I get to practice it and I get to see it around me all the time. So I'm in a group of practitioners and stuff that talk. And someone shared a story the other day about how she's caregiving for her father, and she's like, your sister's not helping, and she's like, was fed up, and she kept saying, I need a break. I need a break. I need a break from caregiving. Well, can anybody guess what happened? You know, she was repeating this word over and over and over again out into the universe, out into law, using the power of her voice. And what happened? She broke her foot. Yes, now she has a break from caregiving for her father because she can't do it anymore. But it wasn't exactly the way she intended. But it just goes to show the power of our words when we speak them into law, when we put that vibratory energy behind them. We have got to do it with consciousness and awareness because the universe hears us. The universe is bringing to us that which we desire, that which we speak, that which we affirm, right? So I don't know how many of you have noticed that I wear these rubber bands on my wrist all the time. They each mean something different to me. One of them is my recovery, one of them is my sister, but one of them is my 28-day complaint-free bracelet. And I'm not sure if I've shared this with you guys before, but I took a challenge 7.5 years ago, I think it is now, to do a 28-day complaint-free practice where I tried not to complain for 28 days. 7.5 years, I am still wearing it. Because let me tell you, it is really hard to go through a whole day without complaining about something, without participating in a conversation that contains complaint, because so much of what people talk about in the world is complaining. And once you become aware of that, it creates some space. It creates like a space in your life if you really are not complaining. But it's something that I'm still practicing because it sneaks up on you, you know, just like the simplest things is like, you know, you're in traffic or you're at the grocery store. I mean, and it just comes out. So this is one way that I get to try to be mindful of what I speak. And just I'm going through some difficult times in my personal life right now with somebody who's very ill. And so yesterday I was crying and talking to people, but you know, so I need to feel my feelings, but then I also go back and reaffirm what it is that I believe. I come back to truth and I say, okay, you know, like that is not what I am affirming, that is what I am feeling, but it is not what I know. and I come back to the truth that I know. And, it's not always easy to do it in the moment. I try, but I do always come back to it eventually. And I know I've shared with you guys here before about the Bertha voice in my head, that voice of negativity that tells me negative things. Well, there's one thing that I am very careful of and that I'm very mindful of, and that is not to allow Bertha to speak in my mouth, to speak in my voice. I do not give Bertha the power of that vibratory nature of my voice. I hear it. I hear her right now. But I do not voice Bertha, because then I am putting it into law, and then I am giving her the power vibration. And so I try very hard. I mean, which is always a practice. It's never perfect, but I try very hard not to let her have that power of my voice, not to give her that vibratory power. Because for one thing, like I said about the treatment, when I do that, I hear it, right? So when I hear myself, my own voice saying something, it imprints on me in a different way. So just the way I speak my treatments out loud, because I want that to impress on me, that's how important it is not to complain out loud and not to have Bertha speak out loud. Because when I do that, I'm also hearing it. My consciousness is absorbing that. And I am also going to demonstrate that in some way if I give it that much power, if I give it that vibratory energy. So it's really important to me to be mindful and conscious and make choices about what I say, how I say it, the words I choose, whether they're words of beauty and peace and and I'm not saying just like, pretend that there's no problem, but it's how you choose to focus on it and the words that you choose and how you choose to say it. I one of the first things I learned in this teaching way back when was, when you hear yourself say something that you didn't want to say, you go delete, 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 right? Because you're trying to take it out of consciousness. Well, my boyfriend will tell you that very often when I hear myself saying something that I don't want to affirm, or that I all of a sudden realize maybe isn't true, like I'll start to say something like a declarative sentence, and as I hear myself saying it, I'm like, oh, wait, am I sure about that? Or maybe I don't want to say that. And so by the end, I have shifted into a question. Like, I will change the intonation or add like, right? Or am I right? Or something at the end, because I realize as I'm hearing it, because here's the power of the spoken word, that I don't want to affirm that I don't want to stand behind that. I don't want to put the vibration of my voice and that power into that idea. I'm not sure, because, I want to speak truth, right? So I don't want to speak something that isn't truth. But, I'm a talker. I like to talk, because you didn't get that. So I have to be mindful of what I choose to say. And that is the spiritual practice. That is what we get to do today. I get to choose whether I use my vibration of my voice in chanting Om and, chanting and speaking treatments out loud, or whether I go forth and complain and, and let Bertha speak and all of those negative things. We each get that choice every day, every moment. And so I think I've shared this with you guys before, but one of the things that helps me is the Buddhist gates of, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? And does it need to be said by me now? Because it's not only what we say and how we say it, a lot of times it's when we say it, because that also gives it also is power. Sometimes if you're saying something and someone isn't ready to hear it, isn't able to receive it, then that's not the right time to say it. So there's a whole different, thing. There's so much to be mindful of for. It's definitely a spiritual practice. The power of the spoken word, not only what you say, how you say it, but when you say it. These are all things that we get to bring our consciousness to, that we get to inform with discernment and with choice and with intuition and with intuitive guidance, because that wisdom exists within each of us, right? We know that in this teaching, that the intuitive wisdom of God or spirit or source, whatever you want to say, exists within each. We are all sparks of that one divine presence. And it is our job, our journey, our spiritual process to align with that and to open up to that wisdom and to better hear it and to then demonstrate it and to then speak it so that it can demonstrate in our lives and so that we can vibrate that web in that way. We can bring that vibratory power of love and presence and joy and wisdom and truth to the world around us, because that is what we want to do. That is who and what we are, right? In this teaching, we want to bring that power. And so somebody else who loves quotes is Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah Winfrey says, here's what my love affair with quotations has taught me. The more you focus on words that uplift you, the more you embody the ideas contained in those words. So I would say that also the more you focus on words that don't uplift you, the more you're going to embody that. So the idea is that you focus on words and you choose words that uplift you and the world around you. This is the power that we have. And we get to use the vibratory power of our voice to amplify that power, to bring it into greater expression, to allow for our mindful choices to create the world which we desire. And that's a world that works for everyone, right? That's what we want. That's what this teaching is about. And that's what Centers for Spiritual Living is about. That's the idea that we all can contribute to a world that works for everyone, that we can nudge the world in a way towards greater good, that we can nudge the world towards greater peace. I don't know. Are any of you guys doing the 100 days of mindful intention for our election that got sent out by Center for Spiritual Living Atlanta? I don't know. I get it every morning, and it's not like one side or the other. It's just about holding a consciousness of peace, holding a consciousness of unity, of holding a consciousness of that which we desire. And somebody's speaking it out loud. And when I listen to it, I then repeat it out loud because for me, it vibrates at a different way when I use the power of my voice, when I use that power and speak it into law. So I participate by listening and I participate by repeating it. So we're going to be talking about that. I would like to hear some of your feedback about how you use your word and what the vibration means to you. I just want to was thinking that maybe we could start out by all unmuting and joining in the power of our vibratory voices all joined together to uplift us and to hear that vibration in each other's voice and to just sort of, I know we're not in person, but to just sort of mimic a little bit. One of the things that I love about the Christian church that I used to be in before this teaching was the power of song and choir. When voices are lifted together in praise, when voices are lifted together in chant, like I'm in some meditation groups where we chant together. When voices are lifted together, we amplify that vibration, we amplify that good, and it uplifts everyone. So I was thinking that maybe we could just do a simple few minutes of taking a few breaths and repeating together, I am one with spirit, since that's basically the core of our teaching. Are you guys all good with that?
I am.
Can we do that, Catherine?
Y'all want to
Yeah. Can we
I am
unmute everyone?
I'm not sure if, oh, Jim is still there. Good.
So if you're all unmuted, so we're going to just breathe in and then all repeat together. I am one with spirit. Okay, let's do it a few times and let's see if we can get our voices to sync. So breathing in, I
am one
am one with spirit. Okay. All right, again. I am one with spirit. One more time, guys. Breathing in. I am one with spirit.
Spirit.
Well, it doesn't work as well on Zoom as it does in person.
Not as
But I'll
good.
just think it out. But you see what you get the point, right? It's that power of vibration and the power of recognizing the voices of others, the power of recognizing that vibratory energy is just expanded upon when we are in community, right? When we are in unity, when we were all doing it together. And that is one of the blessings of being in a community like this, of being together, of recognizing this truth, and of imbuing our words with the power and the presence, with that vibration. Okay, I don't know. Are you guys familiar with the vagus nerve?
A little.
I'm gonna. Okay, so the vagus nerve has a lot to do with whether you're in fight, flight, or freeze, and whether you're in rest and recover, right? The parasympathetic nervous system. So one of the ways, anytime that you use the vibration of your voice, you are toning the vagus nerve. So I'm going to give you, when you hum, when you chant, when you sing, so anything that vibrates your voice helps to tone your vagus nerve. So I discovered a really interesting one. You can gargle. So you can help to tune your vagus nerve and tune into that sense of rest and rejuvenate, which is like, the peaceful place of wholeness. Tune into that wholeness every morning and every night when you brush your teeth. Just consciously gargle a little louder and a little deeper. And when you do that, you are tuning and toning your vagus nerve. Isn't that interesting? I just love that. I found that out and I was like, okay, I knew about the chanting. I knew chanting Om and, what did that, but I never knew about the gargling. So I just thought I'd share that with you. It's a tiny little life hack that you can use, and that since I discovered, I have been using, and it is powerful. It's very powerful. It does help to center me, and it's something that you do every morning and every night, right? So it's like sort of helpful to come into presence in the day, and to help release you and relax you into, a restful place at night. So anyway, there's a little hack for you. Okay. I know I'm running out of time and I can talk all day about the power of the word, but I do want to end with a beautiful quote because, like I said, I love quotes. So this quote is by Paramahansa Yogananda because, like I said, truth is truth is truth. And it goes across all spiritual teachings, right? One of my favorite books of all time is The Wisdom of the Ages by Wayne Dyer because it draws from all different traditions and brings forth the wisdom that's available everywhere. And it's a beautiful book. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. But this is the quote: words saturated with sincerity, conviction, faith, and intuition are like highly explosive vibration bombs, which, when set off, shatter the rocks of difficulties and create the change desired. I just love that. Vibration bombs, but not in a negative way. They are shattering the rock of difficulty and creating change. That's the power of the vibration. That's the power of your word when it's saturated with intuition, with guidance, with faith, with belief, right? So we get the choice in this teaching. We get the choice every day to be mindful of our words, to choose them with consciousness, with awareness, to choose them when we speak them, how we speak them, and where we speak them, and to when we speak them, and to make those choices so that they vibrate that web of life in a beautiful, beautiful, empowering way. And so let's go forth and shatter some rocks of difficulty and create the changes we desire and bring forth a world that works for everyone, like is the intention of CSL. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
Lori.
here.
Okay, that was awesome. I love the idea of the vibrating the web, right? That was really, really cool. So it's time for our discussion now. Before I stop the recording, though, just let me say that we do believe that one gives where one receives spiritual nourishment and inspiration. So if you found value in the message, if you want to contribute to our work, please feel free to make a love offering at cslbouldervalley.org/donate. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now and we can begin our discussion, which is honestly is a lot of the rich part of the whole thing. And if you're watching this recording and you want to be part of our conversation next time, you can find the Zoom link on our website, which again is cslbouldervalley.org. We meet online via Zoom the first, third, and fifth Sundays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and then in person the second and fourth. So we hope to see you there. All right, I'm stopping the recording and we can talk.